Welcome to a Leader's Journey podcast. I'm your host, Joel Gunn, and today I'm really excited to have with me Mandy Smith. Mandy and I have known each other for 5 years-ish.
Yeah.
And I actually got to do some work together over the last few years. She is a business owner. Her husband's a business owner. So between them, they each have businesses and probably have some I even don't know about, but entrepreneurs and just great people, great couple. And I'm super excited to be at your space today. So this is unique for me. First time I've ever recorded in somebody else's venue. I've done a few remote things, but never
really?
at somebody else's office.
I
So
was
this
just
is
thinking
cool.
how cool it is that your team is able to be remote. So I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And I was wondering what the setup was going to look like. Very nice.
Yeah. So Mandy, just before we got started, we were talking about where we could go. And you said something that fascinates me, and I love it when we get to have these kind of conversations, is let's talk about the stuff leaders don't talk about.
Right? Not what social media says leadership or owning a business is.
Right. Yeah.
Yes.
Like a lot of people misunderstand business ownership. They're like, well, you get to go on vacation anytime you want.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me, what's the real scoop? What's the real world like? And you were a high-end producer
For
before.
corporate, yeah. I was a high top in what I do for corporation. And I'll tell you, I had a lot more cash flow back then, and life was super easy. And people think like, oh, you have your own business. Oh, you have this, but it is a lot of responsibility, and it's very selfless, you know? So with everything we've been through in the real estate industry since the end of 2022, like, I don't care about what I can get from me. I care about human capital and making sure the business is running well and that we're keeping people employed. And when you're a top producer for a company, you're just thinking about your little team here, not the whole. And so it just, becoming a business owner makes you it takes the selfishness out of you. And a lot of people don't talk about it. They just show like, oh, this is how you write stuff off. And don't get me wrong, it is really nice to have some of the tax advantages, but they just put out there like, oh, buy the Range Rover because it weighs this much, and you on the 947 tax, you can completely write it off. It's still going to cost your business money to pay that payment or that lease payment or whatever it is. So it's glamorized.
Yeah, if you don't have the cash flow, what's the point, right?
Exactly. So they just glamorize it out there. And leadership, when you're leading your company and pouring into your leaders that are, I say they're babysitting, like you're taking care of your baby. Like when you have a business, it's your baby, and it's hard to teach people how to think like an owner. Mm-hmm. And so it's not easy. It's not just delegate to elevate and all this like stuff people say. And don't get me wrong, there are ways to delegate to elevate a little bit, mm-hmm. but you still have to be involved in your business to a certain point. I went through Business Mastery with Tony Robbins, and they teach you how to go from everyday operator to an owner, true owner, but a true owner still is involved in their business. But again, with social media, they're like, elevate, delegate, this, and that's not how it is. There's a lot of crying nights, sleepless nights, especially when I had to retract and have a smaller company so I can make sure to take care of the business.
You were just getting going when COVID hit.
Yeah.
And so you were growing, and things were, you're like, owning a business is easy.
Oh yeah, I was like the Peloton of title. I mean, business was just coming in left and right. It was great, and then it slowed down, like a scary slowdown. And to have to let go of assistants and people, it's like it's not a sorority I'm running here, mm-hmm. no margin, no mission. Like I'm running a business here. And so it is far from glamorous to be a business owner, but there are some fantastic benefits. Mm-hmm. But people don't talk about the crying nights, the sleepless nights.
Trying to figure out how to make payroll. I don't know if you've ever been in that situation, but a lot of companies do.
Cash flow. It's like, remember you said some businesses that you may not even know about? Mm-hmm. Well, through all this slowdown, it's really taught me to be like a CFO, a CFO when it comes to looking at financials, the P&Ls for each entity. And there was the business partnerships that I had with my husband that I wasn't paying attention to because I was so paying attention to this. And so, yeah, there was some partnerships that I didn't know that I wasn't tracking and measuring the general ledger, the P&Ls, the balance sheets. And so when the rentals would go down, we'd have 17 vacant units, and mortgages aren't just $1,000. The cash flow was like, whoa. I'm like, whoa, I've never been on this roller coaster ride before. Like, this is scary. You know, you have over 100 rental properties. Whoa, man, you're a business owner.
Yeah.
They show, have 6 Airbnbs online, and this is how you do this. And then we can quit our job. No, it's like, it's just more responsibility, and the more zeros, the more scarier it can get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you've got 100 units and 17 of them are not generating income, doesn't matter. You got to have some serious margin to comp for those.
I describe it like being on a roller coaster. You're like, whoa, my gosh, look at that big chunk of cash flow that just went down. And so we're like, we need to get renters in there. And then there was a time where everything really stopped. There was no renters, there was no building, there was no contracts coming in, and just the cash flows, like, you think you have it, and it's like, whoo, knocked out. And then it's like, no, we got this. We got to do what we have to do. And I know that we are earning the right to stay in this game until the interest rates go up, and whatever the new normal will be for our real estate market in Texas, we're earning the right to stay in the game.
This might be a personal question. I'm okay if you don't go there, but how much stress has that created between you and Adam?
So you've been my business coach for a long time. You're also my mentor, and you've done marriage retreats with Adam and I. So you know our dynamic. We're both type A. I'm recovering workaholic. He is a workaholic. So I've also learned to hydrate my feminine more, because when you're a woman and you are making a lot of money, you feel like you don't have to listen to anyone. But when cash flow, you're putting it all towards human capital, you really become very feminine towards your husband and very thankful. And God did a change in my heart, and Adam sees it. And I was finding ways where I could help him more. So now I manage the property management business, and I coach his financial team for the Everview home. So I've started to help him more, and he's seen my skills, talents, and abilities. And, I always long for him to tell me how great I am, and, words of affirmation. And he's like, Mandy, you're really good at what you do. I'm like, thank you. So it's been stressful because I don't want to be told what to do, but God changed my heart towards him, and I still don't want to be told what to do. But I'm basically like his assistant, but he's like, no, you run things. But I always try to tell him, like, oh, I'm your assistant. And I tell other people that because I want to like respect him. So that's how it's been. But there's been nights where I'm like, can you just stop delegating to me? Like, I'm overworking myself, little small panic attacks that I'm praying through, or because y'all are men. I always tell him, like, I'm just a girl. I can't handle all this financial pressure like you do. He'll go into the next meeting and he'll start talking about a new development. I'm like, did you not see like all that money that just came out this month? And so I think
did he forget the checks he signed yesterday?
Right. And so just the level of respect that we both have found for each other, with how smart he is and how much financial pressure he can take. And then my leadership and organizational skills. I'm glad you asked me that, because it just makes me reflect on how good things are. We've had some hard times, breakdowns for breakthroughs, but it's good right now.
Yes. Well, and I think that's important for people to hear the real story, right? Like, life's not perfect. Owning a business isn't perfect. It's not as easy as everybody thinks. But it is rewarding.
Yes.
Right. So the reward may not always come in dollars. Sometimes you are writing those big checks, but you're finding that it's drawing you as a couple closer, right? Or you're writing those big checks and you look around at your team and their families are thriving,
Yes.
right? Because they're employed in a difficult economy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I liked what you said at the beginning, where it's about becoming more selfless, right? Yeah. Versus when you were the rock star previously, the corporate world, it was easy to receive the accolades and the awards and the large cash, income.
Yeah.
And we humans are just wired to think, well, I must be something.
Yeah.
Right. Because of look at everything that's good that's happening to me. And then what made you jump out of the corporate world into the business world? What was that? It had to be a crazy idea.
Into business ownership. If anybody told me that it was going to take, if somebody showed me the path and said, this is all that you're going to go through to get to sitting here today, I wouldn't have done it. It was so hard. It was so hard just to get licensed and with compliance. Remember, my talent used to only be relationship building, killer salesperson, business development. I'm okay at that now. I am like a financial wizard. Because of the peer groups that I've chose to invest in, I can talk with any business owner about organizational health, operational health, revenue gen, their culture, financials. Like I can talk to any business owner. So I dread sometimes business development. And that's what I used to do.
Which is funny because that was what you were a rock star.
That's what I was a rock star. And now I'm like, oh, I don't know what I really had to get out. So it was hard for me to go from business development to my analytical brain and systems and processes that had to grow in me. And so I just outgrew corporate America. There's a ceiling, there's a glass ceiling in corporate America where you don't make sense. And I got forced into being a business owner. There was no other, it was going to happen to me at the same place I went to. I would go and my bosses would be jealous of my paychecks. And I'm like, you can do the same thing too. Let's get out there and go recruit people in and recruit business in. And so I was called Adam, my hero, because he's the one who said, you can do this. You're going to do this. But he pushed me into doing it. I wanted some business partners and glad I didn't do that. And so, yeah, I did. I kind of got forced into it. I didn't pick this.
That's great. What would you say somebody that's thinking about starting a business? What are some of the things you'd wish somebody had said and told you, okay, you've decided to launch your own business. Here's the things to prepare for. Here's maybe do this before you do that, or psychologically prepare for, financially prepare for. What are some things you wish you'd know?
I wish I would have. If I were to tell somebody they're starting a business right now, I would definitely tell them to work on a business plan. Business plan, seeing how much working capital they're going to need for the first 6 months, along with their personal finances to see if they can float themselves that 6 months to get going. And then the first thing would be to hire the correct person who's going to handle your books, who's going to really handle the finances, like your bookkeeper or your CPA, who's a third party that can get that in line for you. For my business, thank goodness, there's a lot of rules and regulations with the Texas Department of Insurance. So I had to have my business plan ready with them. I had to have my whole team ready to go for them to even to approve me. But I would tell somebody, get your business plan in line, make sure your finances are in line for business and personal. Go over your business plan with another business owner, somebody who's owned a business, not just like a really successful rich person that works for a company. They don't know the heartache, the pain, what it's like to run your own business. I'm 100% my own managing member of mine. Like, find someone who knows what it is so they can help coach you or ask you the right questions.
So better to find somebody that drives a truck and runs their own business than somebody that drives a Porsche and doesn't.
Yes. I'm going to steal that.
Please do.
Yes, because there's a lot of people out there giving advice, but I'm like, find out if they really own their own business, and then really ask yourself, why are you doing this? And if you have the faith-based, I just really spend time with the Lord and journal it out. Like, why am I starting my own business? Is it to show people I can? Is it just for money? Like, what's the why behind it? So you know what your intentions are, really why you're doing it. So your business will be blessed, your actions. And
Patrick Lencioni wrote a book a couple of years ago during COVID called The Motive. And he said, I wish it was the first book I wrote, because he's written dozens. But it really addresses that what you were just talking about. Why do I want to be in leadership? Is the angle he comes at, not necessarily business ownership, but leadership. And a lot of times our motives are wrong when we are really, truly honest with why we want to be the boss. And so I'm glad you said that. It's important people wrestle with that.
Yeah.
So thank you for your time. Any final thoughts on this particular episode?
No, I think that I think more people should get out there. And I know I just talked about all the things that business owners don't talk about. There's some fantastic things and such fantastic intrinsic rewards, tax benefits, and there are good cash flow times. There really are. I think that people who are working for someone, that they should take the leap of faith if while they're getting a paycheck in the nights and weekends, work on your business plan. Look at your finances, see what it would take to rent that piece of property and, do whatever it is that you want to do on that piece of land, and just start making a plan and listen to your dreams, listen to your heart, and don't be scared, because we're all doing it scared.
That's true. Mandy, thank you so much. And let's do another episode like right away.
Okay.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Sounds good.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of A Leader's Journey podcast. If you enjoyed it, give us a thumbs up and remember to subscribe to our channel.